Alright guys, time to go back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And as iLLeY is spotted not playing Call of Duty for the first time in recorded history, Hex and OpTic Scump definitely have some further words to say on the frustrations that we discussed in yesterday's video, especially with regard to the CDL potentially using the branding of these organisations to their benefit over these last several years, and how things may be improved going forwards. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do. Top of the channel, reach new people, and please do subscribe as well if you have not yet already. First of all, thought this is kind of funny really, given what we discussed last night with that Warzone potentially being the third game mode. You guys might remember this back during the Modern Warfare season, I think kind of the latter half of it, when they did this like Warzone invitational type tourney, and Rambo won the entire thing by driving over iLLeY in the truck, and this is just superb stuff. But anyway, yeah, maybe OpTic could have used Rambo. OpTic Texas is now coach every time for a guaranteed W in that third game mode if it was Warzone, but thankfully it doesn't seem like that's the case. Then again though, no real fix to control seems to be coming anytime soon. Now obviously the people are on holidays and stuff like this. It's the Christmas period, so I guess the developers aren't really working all that much. At the same time though, that does raise some questions as to when things actually might change here with the current state of the game, because even some of the guys like Bance, right, who has of course tried to keep up a nice positive, well, Shroud on the timeline, squad spawns thumbs up, he gives up, finished 2021 off strong, I cannot, I'm now official breaking point, says Bance. So it seems like even to guys like Bance, it might be getting to the state of this game at the present time. And also some thoughts about that really from Exceed right here, the fact that like, yes, the first two cups they had in the challenger sides, they weren't done with they weren't actually using pro points, right, or at least there wasn't there was money on the line, but there wasn't official seeding pro points type stuff on the line here, because the game wasn't in a good state. Eventually the challengers were like, look, we don't really want to play these tourneys because the game is broken, right? They ended up playing 3 search and destroys and 2 hard points, and that was because the third game mode in control just isn't in a playable state right now. But as he's saying here, like, hang on a second, we're less than 2 weeks until the actual cup, and of course the season is going to start in 3 and a bit weeks time, I suppose. Right now we have less than 2 weeks until the cup. Neither of those have been fixed, right? So having a third game mode that works, search and destroy having this kind of bomb glitch situation still going on, where I guess that they might be talking about when you pick up the bomb, that the guy still tells you when the guy's picked it up, which obviously isn't really good in a competitive setting. So still, I guess people are off on holidays right now, but still, it's not really far away before we were going to get promised some of these fixes that don't seem to be arriving anytime soon. And of course, we can still see that in what the pro players are scrimming right now, because it's still just hardpoint, right? I don't know how much these guys are playing search and destroy at all, like if there's even chals that they can play against some other teams. Like back in the day, some of the pro teams might play some of the amateur teams in like some chals. They put some money on the line and just get a decent amateur team to play them in search and destroy to get some decent practice without revealing any strats to the pro teams. But I mean, still, in a case like this, we've got just hardpoints being played in scrims still, because control is still basically unplayable right now. So it's just one of these things, right? But here we go, Boston versus Florida last night. Definitely there was some questions about where these guys should be ranked in terms of power rankings. Pretty similar right now, at least in terms of the results in this scrim set. Goes 5-3 in favor of the Boston guys, what we imagine is going to be that Boston team. And then 18 and cracked, this is the team of Assault, Exceed, Shawnee and Classic. I guess if this had been on land like the Stage 5 Major, then Simp and Co wouldn't have stood a chance. But in this one it goes 8-0. Some of these maps were kind of close, like if it's 248, 250, so almost 18 and cracked, and the guys took a map off FaZe here. But no, it was 8-0 in their favor. Pretty dominant all things considered. But look, we don't know frankly how these teams are going to fare at control. So far all we've got to see is how these teams are doing on the hardpoint front. Like we have no clue really how good these squads are going to be at control. We know FaZe are probably going to be very good because they were dominant into that game mode last year. But still, no one's playing it yet because it's pretty much not in a playable state with the squad spawns the way they are. So many glitches with the game mode as well that maybe will be fixed in the new year. But Exceed doesn't seem to be holding out all that much hope that that'll be the case. So that does raise some questions as to what we actually do for the competitive scene going forwards, and whether another third game mode has to come into play, as Crimsix has been describing these last couple of days. So the OpTic Texas podcast, of course, that we looked at yesterday, Hex went on this pretty fantastic rant, to be honest. It was about 7-8 minutes. It's from about the 14-minute mark in the episode. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link down below. But there was about a minute or a minute and a half of it that I didn't put in yesterday that I actually thought was pretty interesting that we can dive into today, because Hex is really talking about, we did discuss it briefly yesterday, the fact that back in the day the World Championship used to be in April for the reason to create this kind of second wind in the season. And also Advanced Warfare was a great example of when Hex goes on to say right here that actually there were some team skins in the game, especially Advanced Warfare, other games as well, that the OpTic guys and the other organizations and the brands would basically be making these guys money by having their own organization involved, and people wanted to buy the team packs and the team skins because of the organizations themselves. So Hex seems kind of frustrated the fact that we've seen this in the past really with the signatures, we'll look at it in a second, that the CDL and even pre-CDL as well are kind of using the organizations and the following that they have and some of the players themselves to, well, make money, but they're not necessarily giving all that much return in terms of resources. The next kind of, well, you can see he gets pretty visibly frustrated, and at the end he says, look, yeah, if we just had the resources, we could make this thing work a lot better than kind of a one-way dynamic that maybe there is right now.
They could. I mean, but
what I'm saying is, like, I know that the league ops, the people that are running this thing, want this thing to succeed. It's not on them. It's on the developers, and it's on the lawyers, and it's on the people that are making $1 billion, the business making $1 billion a year. They're like, why would you with that? There's a reason why Champs was in the middle of the season in the past. Remember that? Did we forget about the fact that it was in April? Like, who the in April? And why? Because they needed that other uptick. They needed to, and all this shit about, like, hey, we've been supporting Call of Duty for a long time. No, they haven't. Like, every single time that they did that, skins were sold off of our backs, off of organizations like mine, who have been creating content from the beginning of time to grow this scene, and us paying his flight and his hotel to get there and create the content that's going to continue to drag in an audience to buy more skins.
Say, you think they're using us?
No, 100%. But it's just like, we could all be happy together if they just gave us more resources, for sake, man. Like,
so this, for example, what the gear looks like back in Advanced Warfare. I saw this at midnight. I just kind of tried to search up some tweets to find something that well, was on the right lines, and this is pretty much what happened back in the Advanced Warfare days. Like, you could get a jetpack, like an exosuit they called them, with well, a very nice, well, OpTic skin right here. They had them for the other teams as well at the time, but there was a lot of really cool stuff like this back in the day. I'm pretty sure even like the players themselves, like maybe the white ones, there was some like specific exosuit that only the players themselves got access to, like some really cool stuff like this. But Hex seems to think, okay, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not sure Hex wanted to go down the route of this. I'm pretty sure there was some drama about the fact that Denial Esports had kind of like signed the contract and said, yes, Activision, we're ready to go on this, and therefore the other teams kind of got dragged along, but Hex and the OpTic guys kind of wanted some better terms for what they got in return. And we might have seen that really the last couple of years with regard to these, well, signatures. We'll have a look at it in a second, but of course, these came out last year, February 11th, I'm pretty sure. They launched, well, at the opening weekend last season, February 11th through to the 14th. Thankfully, it's actually slightly earlier this year than it was last year, but still, these came out pretty much at the same time last year as the season was beginning. We'd imagine that's a similar story this time around, but well, hopefully sooner rather than later. But of course, the organizations and the branding behind these rosters is actually what sells some of these, well, particular packs, right? And we've seen previously as well, for example, back in 2020 Modern Warfare, when, well, for Champs 2020, the player signatures came out in the game. Pretty cool addition, to be honest, right? These type of things that should be in every single game, really, but they did arrive in the end to Modern Warfare, but the Huntsman signatures were not available, right? And I think Hex has talked about this before, the fact that, like, if he and the OpTic guys, or at least Huntsman as it was at the time, are not getting quite enough in return to putting their signatures in the game, then they're just straight up not going to do it, right? So there was the CDL signature pack that came out at the time. Pretty much all the pro players had one in here, but the Huntsman guys weren't there, right? And maybe that's kind of, you know, goes along a similar lines here. The fact that, like, well, if Hex and the OpTic guys put their stuff in, they're probably going to be the biggest driver of sales to that particular product, but they don't necessarily receive a disproportionate amount of the revenue for driving those sales. Kind of goes on with the whole theme of the CDL and even pre-CDL for, you know, kind of using the pro teams for benefits without necessarily giving all that much in return for them, right? So it definitely does indicate maybe some frustrations there and some things that could potentially be fixed going forwards. And Scump seems to kind of agree with it as well, the way it was like, you know, you think they're using us, and Hex like, yeah, pretty much 100%. That has been the case for several years. This also, just to kind of show how things are situated right now with Vanguard, I thought was kind of funny. We know that iLLeY is like the biggest grinder of Call of Duty in the world. He loves COD. He's never going to get off Call of Duty from, well, any time at all. Now, even iLLeY has been forced off Vanguard just with the state of this game right now. As Crimsix says, well, not how bad Vanguard is. It's got iLLeY playing a Halo chal. So he's playing some sort of 3 versus 3 chal right here on Halo. Like, you know, with Mohawk and Scrappy against some of these guys on this, you know, Proload, Sparta. I'm not exactly sure who this guy in the middle is, but they win the chal anyway, at least in this particular map. And just goes to show, really, like, iLLeY will never get off Call of Duty for anything, but it seems like this time around, like, this was enough to force him off the game. As he said in reply, after what I had to go through to get my ARs and subs diamond, I just straight up could not handle it anymore. I can't imagine what it's like playing public matches on this game to try and get stuff diamond. Like, that would really wear you out, right? If it's not bad enough playing scrims and 8s and all this type of stuff, like, playing public matches on this game, like, damn, I can't imagine going through that. So fair play to iLLeY, but he's having to hop off the game a little bit to try and get his breath back. And other pros kind of realize this as well, as Slatter says Jesus in the replies, because if it's the case that iLLeY's getting off the game, that's not the greatest sign, right? Because this guy never gets off the game. So if he's getting off Call of of Duty and hopping on something else, even if only for a brief period of time, it's well, maybe not the greatest sign that the Vanguard game is particularly well loved within the professional scene, as we may well have realized already. Maybe, as we talked about earlier in the video, some overhauls will come at the start of January that will take this game to the next level. It tends to be the case where some things start to change at the start of the new year, but still by no means guaranteed that anything actually is going to improve the game. So far, every single update we've had, something, well, it might be one step forward, two steps backwards, to be honest, in some of the things that will tend to get changed and get even worse. This I also thought I'd mention real quick, just because, well, Crimsix kind of replies to it, and Crim and TSM Myth going to have their beef for a while. Just interesting to see Myth leave TSM really after such a long period of time, but I do wonder if we will ever kind of get this Crimsix versus Myth battle, because there was the talk about, like, controller players, like Myth would never put a controller player in his top 10 esports players of all time, and Crim kind of wanted to, well, get him in the ring for that one, so maybe this will happen more likely now he's left TSM. Tough to say, but also just to finish off the video with this here, because I thought this is beautiful, really. This is, well, this is Call of Duty Mobile. I played a bit of this back in, I guess it was it must have been 2019. Whenever this game came out, I actually played a bit of it. It is pretty good fun, really. Now, some people are just incredible at playing this game. There's, I think, especially in the Asian regions, like, I think this is like Japan, or, you know, these players are from, but also this region in general, it's just like, this game is massive, and also these guys are absolutely cracked on their iPads. Like, it's just phenomenal stuff. And, I mean, look at this game, right? We've got all the best weapons in Call of Duty history, with some nice attachments and stuff like this. They're playing standoff, they're playing raid, they're playing, I mean, like, this guy's absolutely out of control. I mean, look at this. We've got raid, we've got, I mean, whatever game mode they're playing right here, it looks like a hard point, to be honest, and they've got firing range. Oh my god. This, you know, I'm sure Nature's looking at this and he's thinking, wow, Call of Duty Mobile looks way better than Vanguard. And to be fair, it's probably been better than the last several Call of Duties we've played. This is what some people would love to see from the competitive scene, have like a dedicated competitive title, which is kind of like a Black Ops 2 remastered, or just a best of Call of Duty. Like, you guys might remember, was it called COD Online or something? It was like, well, I think a Chinese version of the game, really, but a COD Mobile is actually very similar to that. And, I mean, you've even got the HBR, right, whatever the variant of the HBR was called, that looked like this. Just, I mean, yeah, phenomenal scenes. Maybe that'll be the case one day, or maybe the pros just say, well, plug in a controller and play this game as the game going forward. It's tough to say. But, yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in a like button. Tell us the YouTube gods this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And I hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.